Half a year ago, I decided to start learning how to make games, and this is the result of doing just that. So about half a year ago, I started to play a game called Hollow Knight, and I thought, damn, this is cool, how do I make this? So I dreamed up a game which was realistically just a rip-off of Hollow Knight, because the story went something like this. You play as an empty character looking for 3 souls to restore your life. Once you have collected the souls, you fight the final boss and win the game. So I made it and sold it on Steam for £10 and made millions. Just kidding, of course. What really happened is I started making the character and brought it into Unity and realised I don't even know how to code, so I ditched the project. So this is the first game I made in Unity, if you can even call it a game. I mean, if we press play here, it just kinda, you can only move left and right really slowly, and you can see only a few errors there, so that doesn't really matter. So perfect game. I could probably sell this on £40 on Steam and it would get overwhelmingly positive reviews, but I didn't for some reason. Let's just move on to the next game. This is the second game I made. You can see it already looks a lot better. I mean, there's actually graphics in this game. You press the endless button here, and we see we can move left and right, and this actually works. I mean, it's a playable game, which is a massive step up from the last game or the first game I ever made. There's even a health bar system, so when I hit an enemy, I lose health. So definitely a lot better than the first game. Also, I believe I actually made 2 devlogs on this game, which are still up on my channel. They're really bad, so I don't recommend you watch them, but if you do want to, they're always going to be on my channel. This game taught me so much how to code. Before, I didn't know how to write a single line, and now I could make a very basic game. Obviously, the graphics and gameplay are not great at all, but still a massive point in my game dev journey. This next game was made using a Udemy course, which is why it looks way better than the last one, especially the graphics. So I didn't actually make most of the graphics. I did make the player, but yeah, not much of it was actually done by myself. Although I did write quite a bit of the code, although the code was still copied. So I did learn a lot from making this game, although it's not very original at all. So this game, once again, is made using a Udemy course, but I felt the need to show this one because I learned so much from this game, probably about as much as I did from the Riser one, which was the second game I showed, because I actually paid attention to what the coach of the Udemy course was actually doing and started to understand what he was doing a lot more than the other game I made using a Udemy course. So this is when I started taking it quite a bit more seriously, and the games after this are so much better. This next game is called A Puzzling Hell, and the thing that's so special about this game is I made it without using any tutorials, and it's completely original. The game is a puzzle game. You move up, down, left and right, and avoiding the spikes and traps. So the graphics are clearly very bad, but once again, learned so much from making this game, and it was all made by myself with no copying at all. This is the last game I made, which was just completely copied. All the games after this one aren't copied at all. This one is a 2-player game where you have turns and you move your troops, and when the troops are close enough, you attack. This game was way above my skill level and was extremely hard to make. Although I did learn a lot from this game in terms of code, not so much through the art, although I still do like the art, but the thing is I didn't make much of it. I only made the things you place and some of the UI over here, but I really like this game and I'm glad I made it. This is the next game I made. It is called Triangle Shooter. As you can see, the graphics are horrific, But the main thing about this game is the levels are completely random. Each level is randomly generated, and when you die it will make a new map. So if I die here real quick, press retry, you can see the map completely generates itself. So that was the hardest part of the game. The rest is pretty basic, it's just a top-down shooter using the knowledge I gained from the first top-down shooter game I made. There is also power-ups which are pretty cool, but other than that, not much. This is the next game called Shattered, and as you can see, it actually has okay visuals. Although I didn't really want to carry on making games like this because the visuals are so similar to a YouTuber called BlackFonProds. It's to the point where it's just blatantly copied. I really didn't like the art style on this game, but for now I'm just going to ignore that and talk about other things. The main thing I don't like about this game, other than the art, is the storyline is completely cringe. I literally cannot stand the storyline. It's so cringy. Other than that, the game is pretty cool. It's got some nice controls, it has a triple jump, and the next level and checkpoints feel quite nice. But other than that, not too proud of this game, but let's move on to the next one. This is my next game. It is called Burger Rush, and what's so cool about this game is it is made in 2 days, and I also made my own art style. So finally, I wasn't just doing the exact same art style to BlackFonProds, and it has a little bit of originality to it. And we can see the gameplay is pretty similar to Geometry Dash, apart from the fact you're not permanently moving, and you can see you can stop and look in the other direction. Although it's a terrible idea because you are being chased by a wall of death. This game also has a customize, and it has like sort of shop system, so you can choose a character. You can even play as my YouTube logo. So if I go this purpley one, and I can pick a level, and you see we have the purpley sprite. Unfortunately, after this I made the biggest game dev mistake someone could ever make. I started a huge game as a beginner and solo. It was going to be a Metroidvania game with loads of boss fights, enemies, lore and NPCs and secrets. But unfortunately, after spending more time than I'd like to admit on this game, the code was terrible and broke every time I opened the project. And I didn't know what to add next, so I ditched the project after making 7 devlogs on it. Thankfully, the last project didn't go completely to waste because I gained so much knowledge from it to then go on to make one of the games I am most proud of. This game is called Bomb Rush, and I made it for the Vimlark Game Jam in just 1 week. I like this game so much because the controls feel really good, especially the dash mechanic, and the whole gameplay in general is pretty fun to play. The gameplay loop is you have to go out the map and pick up timers that spawn and get crates and bring them back to your base. This next game is a game I made for a challenge I set myself. The challenge is every other week I was going to make a game, and I was going to do this until I had 4 games complete. The hook of this game is that you are set inside of this little circle, and you've got to venture outside the circle to grab rocks, and then once you're back inside the circle you can buy power-ups like grants you an extra heart container, more move speed, this one gives you more time outside the zone, and this one will move the zone like this. The main thing I tried to make good about this game is I wanted shooting to feel as impactful as possible. So as you can see, when I shoot, there is tons of effects I can play. Stuff like screen shake, particle effects, explosions, and that kind of thing. I think I did a pretty good job of making the shoot feel good. Let me know what you think. This is the next game, and potentially my favourite game I have worked on. It was really fun to make, and I think the end product turned out really nice. The hook of this game is that towers will shoot other towers. So in most tower defense games, the towers will aim at the enemies and deal a certain amount of damage depending on how good the tower is. In this game, the towers don't have they have very basic AI, so they will shoot in the same pattern each shot, not specifically aiming at an enemy. So you can see we've got some spinning towers around the bottom left, we've got cannons that will just shoot downwards, there is walls that will block all projectiles, towers that shoot in each of the corners, so there's a pretty large variety of towers to choose from, and once again I really loved working on this game. Another thing about this game is I actually released this game on mobile, so you can play it on the Google Play Store and play a slightly updated version to the gameplay you just saw. And if you're interested, I also made a video about exporting this game to mobile, which I will leave in the description. This is the most recent game I made. It is called FROGGO, and it is a roguelike game. So if I press play, the enemies are randomly generated. They will spawn like this, and you hit them with your tongue because you are a frog. I quite like this game, not as much as the last tower defense game you saw. This taught me quite a lot about arrays, since I had to list arrays for so many different things like the enemies, spawn points and stuff like that. And it's quite fun to play and pretty addictive. So if you want to play this, link will be in the description. I also made a video on it if you're interested. The main thing I wanted to focus on in this game is a variety of enemies. In total there is 16 in this game. There is 4 different areas. Each area has 4 different enemies, and once you've got through all of that, you will win the game. So there's quite a lot of randomness to this game, which is definitely the hook. So if you want to play this, once again, link will be in the description. Before I end the video, I would like to shout out PotoB for making this awesome fan art. It is really appreciated, and if you want to do fan art, you can join the Discord server. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked, make sure to like and subscribe. If you didn't, make sure to hit the dislike button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.